sure you've heard the saying, good artists borrow, great artists steal. Crystal Warriors takes that advice to heart. It's shamelessly Fire Emblem, down to its player turn-based setup, equipment, spells, and structure, all on the Game Gear. At a glance, this might look like a bargain bin title, but it brings new ideas to make this formula its own. Sega themselves developed it to help push their fledgling new handheld, and for the most part, they did well given the Game Gear's limitations. However, those limitations nonetheless hold Crystal Warriors back. For one, the game's just slow, with a clunky feel to it, and its battle backgrounds and in-town art fail to impress. They're mid at best, even a bit garish on modern screens. But the biggest problem I ran into is how early you've gotta commit to actions in battle. If you move a unit to a new square, then open the menu, you can't cancel their move, even if you haven't chosen an option yet. I'm pretty sure this wasn't a thing even in the first Fire Emblem, or at least it felt strange to me. I didn't get used to this strictness until around 2/3 through. There's also odd quirks like how healers get no XP for casting spells. In fact, the only time anyone gets experience is by killing an enemy, which always results in 4 XP. That's right, 4. And you only need 10 to level up. I like how Crystal Warriors takes Fire Emblem's XP system and just chops off a 0, giving the game a charming old school vibe. Plus, low numbers in RPGs are badass. Anyway, I call it odd, but I'm not complaining since this system works. I stuck to a core party for the whole game, swapping out a few characters when I could hire better ones, and most of my squad reached the max level on the second to last battle. My healers were all low level, which seemed like a bummer since apparently they get huge stat boosts at max, but on the other hand, I only needed them for healing, like in a lot of Fire Emblem games. So, no problem, it's easy to keep them far away from enemies since healing spells have massive range in this game. And the system's fine for other mages. Spells deal fixed damage, and they're easy to use since all damaging spells hit at up to 3 range. That's right, I about keeled over when I found that out. You better believe mages were my MVPs. Damn, I wish Fire Emblem worked this way. Seems like those games are always including range boosts and stats just to make the mages viable. Speaking of range, you've also got to use a scan spell to identify certain enemy troops. They're represented as generic question mark dudes until you either scan them or battle them, and I don't see the point of this. You've always got plenty of time to scan the first few enemies you'll reach, and then any others before they reach you. This mechanic ends up as more of an annoyance then, preventing you from planning an attack at the start, which is part of the fun for me. See, units each belong to one of 4 elements, like fire or water, which are weak to or strong against certain other elements. Kinda like FE9's Magic Triangle, but for units. You can't see which elements unidentified enemy units belong to until you scan them, so battles begin at a snail's pace until you've done some scouting. It's fine, but not fun. Once in the thick of conflict, however, things pick up, and Crystal Warriors reveals its strengths. The head-on human sprites may look a little derpy, but not the battle sprites, which get some decent animations. Better, though, are the monster sprites. You're fighting human enemies, but the battlefields also have random animals or monsters running around that'll attack both you and the enemy. In the beginning, they hit as hard as normal enemies, yet don't get much stronger over the course of the game, so from the midpoint on, it's a relief to see them in battles. You can one-shot them for easy XP. Or you can recruit them. Yeah, this is a monster collecting game too. Kind of. It's really all about giving each of your attackers the best mix of monsters possible. Ideally, at least one of each elemental type except their own. Elemental types and monsters matter a lot. I ignored both at first and quickly realized my folly. By the end, I was grateful for every new monster I saw. Each is basically a whole unit on its own if used right. Monsters have HP instead of a set number of attacks or something like that, and they heal after battle, so they're worth keeping around as long as possible, especially since they get more and more rare as you progress. Due to this, Crystal Warriors can be tough at times, but no more than Fire Emblem or Shining Force. Once you've got a grasp on the elemental system, it's 8 to 12 hours of breezy fun through 16 stages. Perfect for a lazy weekend. The music's solid, serving up more of the warm, lullaby-esque tunes reminiscent of Shining Force. These tracks won't blow your mind, but they're more than adequate for such a short game and stuffed with variety. If you're looking for plot though, look elsewhere. Seriously, this is among the least plot-heavy RPGs I've played. You get an intro scene, an ending scene, and that's it. Between missions, you visit towns that look the same, with the same layout, to buy new equipment or occasionally a new unit. Yeah, that's it. It's all bare bones. This is a gameplay-first experience, no doubt. I do find it funny how similar the plot is to Final Fantasy, though. A kingdom's 4 crystals get stolen, and it's up to your heroes to find them and defeat the Emperor? That's literally the plot of multiple Final Fantasies. Hell, Crystal Warriors could have been the title of the first Final Fantasy game if you think about it. That's not a knock on this game. It's meant to provide some TRPG fun on the go, and in that respect, it succeeds. While not on the level of Defenders of Oasis in terms of quality, it's safe to call Crystal Warriors another underrated Game Gear gem. Or maybe it's not underrated, I don't know. I don't hear too much talk about the Game Gear, period. 2 games deep into its library though, and I must say, that little handheld's batting 1,000. Even crazier, Crystal Warriors is but one of many TRPGs on the Game Gear, most of which only saw Japanese releases. Sega alone made 5 or so, including a Crystal Warriors sequel and several Shining Force spin-offs. I'm taking a break from the Game Gear for now, but it's nice knowing I've got a bunch of these short, addictive TRPGs in the backlog ready to go. Thanks for watching. Leave a like for that algorithm, subscribe for more videos on RPGs of all kinds, let me know in the comments if you've played Crystal Warriors and what you thought of it, and have a blessed day.